All right. So the first thing I'm just gonna ask is, what's your story?
What's my story? I get bored easily, Josh. That's my story. I mean, that's why. I mean, I was in California, which is like super sheltered, obviously. You know, we have beautiful illuminated parking structures, and you don't get that everywhere. When I moved to Mississippi from California, an illuminated like an illuminated street was something to cry home about and like tell your mom in a letter that, oh my God, they've got street lights here. So the fact that we're in like a posh illuminated parking lot, and then I moved to Mississippi and it was none of that. That was out of boredom. I was so done with California. I mean, I grew up here. God, we've known each other since first grade.
First grade, bro. We were 6.
First grade. So I've been here a while, and I was ready for something new, and that was Mississippi. I mean, I still kind of did. I guess I did stuff that I was used to doing.
Mhm.
I was doing journalism. I was doing some language stuff. It was like all academic stuff. So there's not much of a change there. But as far as environment goes, oh my God. Like it felt like stepping 10 years back in time.
Can you explain that? Like,
Yeah. I mean, so my freshman orientation, people were smoking like Camel cigarettes, like
What?
17, 18-year-olds. I'm like, do we know that the cancer warnings have reached this part of the world yet? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, we had like the no drugs stuff
we
in
had
like
the
middle
whole
school.
no drugs. I guess that was kind of never taught to them. I mean, people were telling me about like their 16, 17-year-old cousins being pregnant. It's those kind of stereotypes you have deep in your mind where you're like, yeah, I know this exists in the world, but also like it's another thing entirely to be faced with it head on and kind of see that as this isn't just like something that exists in the world, like this is reality for these people. And it was soon to be reality for me. So adjusting to that was crazy.
Mhm.
Like especially because I was doing journalism stuff, so especially reporting on people, on events, on just the state of whatever it was, like whether it was poverty, whether it was political rallies. I mean, I went to Ole Miss and I had the KKK show up to my campus
Wait, what?
in February of 2019. The Ku Klux Klan had a parade around campus, and we weren't allowed to intervene. Actually, we were encouraged not to intervene. I mean, it makes sense. They wanted to preserve like public safety, and they're just here to antagonize. So let's not antagonize them back. But because the university moved their Confederate statue from in view of the football stadium to out of view of the football stadium, the KKK showed up in protest.
What in the America?
And I'm just kind of like, if the KKK shows up in protest to a decision you're making, it's probably the right decision.
Yeah.
Because that's no good. But like I said, out of my comfort zone, I get bored. And then I got bored of that. I moved to France, which is like, I go from California to Mississippi to the south of France. Like now I'm living on the Riviera after living in Mississippi.
Can you kind of dive into your reasons why and like?
Oh yeah. I didn't just randomly pick up. This should probably be explained. No, so yeah. So I got my undergrad degrees, okay, in journalism and in French. French was just kind of like my advisor said, hey, you can do whatever it is, 3-4 more classes and turn your minor in French into a major in French, like actually get a bachelor's degree in it. So I go, yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up loving it a lot. And journalism for me was super fun and exciting, but it was not something I saw myself doing long term. The like more like academic side, the more research side, the more linguistic side was like really kind of my jam. So they had an open position for a master's in linguistics. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get into that. And then after a semester, my undergrad theses and documents and certifications and like all the essays I wrote kind of started getting published and spread around.
Mm-hmm.
So then a university in France, Université de Côte d'Azur, they reached out to me and were like, what if you doing the same thing in France?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I guess, right? That seems kind of cool. So I did. I at first just kind of toured the campus. I got to meet with the instructors, see what they were doing, see what kind of linguistics they were researching. And yeah, I decided that it was worth it. So the last 3 semesters, I was getting my master's in linguistics in France. And I was teaching some random classes too. They had me do some random stuff. Like my very first class was English business. and I am not a numbers guy. I don't know if you got that by like the 2 humanities degrees that I picked up first, but I'm not a numbers guy. So, but it was good. It's all that is like getting me out of my comfort zone. I mean, God, France was awesome. The coolest part about France was that it's so close to everything else. Like I was 30 minutes away from Italy.
That's insane.
And to get there from where I was in Nice, I had to go through Monaco. So I had to go through 2 countries on just like a weekend trip. I ended up just getting some of my groceries in Italy.
Wait,
Like
what?
that was, oh, people do this. In Nice, people will take the Friday train, the TGV, to Italy, to Ventimiglia, where they have an open air farmers market, get groceries because they're at such an affordable price compared to the south of France, and then just take 30-minute train
Oh,
back.
because it's all the EU, right?
It's all
the
EU. Oh,
same.
you just go. Yeah. On that route, you cross through Monaco.
That's fantastic.
Like you have a stop in Monte Carlo. And then you go and you get your groceries and you come back. You stop in Monte Carlo and then you go back to Nice. Yeah.
So, what are your kind of, I guess, big takeaways being an American in Europe, right? And like,
Yeah.
what's your advice for people interested in that? And just talk about the other places you've been.
Sure. I've been fortunate enough to go to 41 different countries by age 24.
Mr. Worldwide over here.
Mr. Worldwide. Dale. Um, and a lot of that has been because of my program. Like we're learning about the roots of different languages. So, oh, we can just go and see like how the Romani people used to talk and how that influenced Roman language.
Yeah.
Or we can go to Italy and see the evolution of Latin in these medieval transcripts. It's super cool, super, super worth it for anyone. I don't know. Every time I hear someone say, like, oh, what do you want, like, people who are thinking about traveling to do? I'm like, why are you thinking about it? Like, if that's something you want to do, if that is even like an apparition in your mind, why do people think about it? Why don't people just act? Because that's the only way to learn is by doing.
Yeah.
And for me, I had the backing of a university. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has that opportunity. But traveling doesn't have to be beyond your means either,
Okay.
right? Like, think about it. We have world packers, we have hostels, we now have transatlantic budget airlines.
Yeah.
You can get from LA to Paris for like $200 one way on French B. There are options. There are options there for you, and that's the only way you're going to learn more about yourself too. Is putting yourself in those crazy situations where if you don't know the language, if you don't know the currency, or maybe you don't know the public transport system. I mean, maybe you get blackout drunk and wake up in a different country than when you started the night.
That's insane.
I mean, that's going to teach you life lessons. Like,
Yeah.
now I know I can handle the Bulgarian railway system blackout drunk. I didn't know that before.
Huh.
You learn a lot more than just like the academic rigor. You
Yeah.
learn about yourself and how you react to situations and circumstances. I think it's one of the most fruitful things in the world to travel. If not the most fruitful thing.
I mean, we only got one planet. Might as well try to enjoy it all.
That's what I'm saying. And within that planet, it's so diverse.
Yeah.
Within America, it's so diverse. I mean, I was talking about Mississippi.
Yeah.
You know, and that's under the same regime. That's under the same government. Just imagine places like Europe, where I have a huge amity toward, where you can travel 3 hours and be in a country with completely different historical context, completely different language, different people, different like way of life. I don't know. I that's what I'm saying. I get bored easily.
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier. Yeah.
So the option to move around and to change my scenery like that, like instantly, so worth it.
So your career, right? That's the biggest thing. Can you dive into that?
Yeah.
And like what the future possibly holds for this?
For sure. I'd love to talk about my career. I mean, right now I'm in whatever it is, I'm in 18th grade, 19th grade. I'm going to get my PhD. Like I'm staying in academics as long as I can hold on to that, because I love sharing knowledge and I love getting knowledge. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I love reading what people hundreds and hundreds of years ago wrote about a subject.
Humanity's awesome, man.
It's awesome. And the more people that you can see that are like-minded, that know that humanity is awesome, that can read about how humanity is awesome, can share their ideas on like, oh, when humanity wasn't so awesome. I don't know. I don't see myself as anything at this point but a language or linguistics professor.
Okay.
And to do that, it's a lot of research, it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of publications. Thankfully, I'm already published in a couple French textbooks, which is super cool
Can you title one of the
and
books?
super random. Sure, if you want to look up L'Héritage by Emery and Associates, I'm there. It's all in French, but I'm there. You can look it up. We'll link it in the description.
Yeah. I have a social
I
description there.
I mean, hey, if we look into the description, people can buy a $300
Fresh
textbook
book.
that's just in French. But if you're interested, for sure, we delve into the ramifications of radio broadcasts on Algeria during the 1960s. So
That is very unique. Holy.
it's specific. That's what the academic world is. It's super specific. And like as I enter now my PhD candidacy,
Mhm.
it's going to get even more specific. And I'm doing that in North Africa. So I'm now going to be like submitting myself to living in North Africa, doing this research, being on the ground with the people that it's affected. And that's going to be so rewarding. Just the chance to interact with the people that are directly affected by the stories that I'm listening and hopefully the stories I'll get to tell. And I don't know. It's just the sharing of knowledge and the interaction with people. That's so driving. That's
It's
so
beautiful.
motivating.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's awesome. I think a lot of people like shit on social sciences, and I think that's a
Yeah.
crime.
Yeah.
Um, so North Africa, why North Africa?
Why North Africa? Well, because I had like an undergrad degree in journalism, I didn't want to completely waste it. So when I started doing some linguistic research, just generally when they go, hey, you got to make some sort of dissertation, start thinking about ideas of what that could be. I was immediately drawn toward the idea of newspapers, TV bulletins, radio broadcasts, things of that nature. So my specific field of interest is the decolonization era of Northern Africa, of the Maghreb, of Algeria, of Tunisia, of Libya, and how, when the French were leaving that area, their language was affected and how their language was deliberate in influencing the native people there, and how that has lasting influences today. And what it's really done is allow the French language to blossom and really evolve in North Africa more than it evolves in France, more than it evolves in the Caribbean islands, um, more than it evolves in Quebec, for example. And I just thought that was a super fascinating area of study. And it opens up a lot in terms of like what we hear in media today, and this can be in any country, in any
Mhm.
society, and how that influences how we speak and how language evolves. Like how fake news turned from just one political candidate shouting things like, almost like a pundency into something that is a well-defined concept, like just within 5 years. Those same sort of things were happening in the 1950s and 60s. And if we find out what causes that and how humans respond to that, I think it opens up a big door in terms of the sociology point of view on just how we interact with each other. Yeah.
That's insane, man. That's so.
But that's the way my brain works. It connects those dots.
Well,
Those are
yeah.
the dots that I connect.
I mean,
Yeah, of
you and I both have bonded over the fact that we're both geeks and stuff like that.
course.
Another aspect of life that we bond over, other than exploring in life, is film and TV.
Absolutely.
Talk about your passion. Talk about your letterbox.
Oh my gosh. I do. I am sometimes ashamed to say that I pay for Letterbox. It's a free service where you can log movies that you've seen and you can rate them, put them in lists, sort them, tell people your favorite actors and things like that. It's like a social platform for media nerds. I don't know. I was into journalism, have a degree in broadcast journalism. I love the idea of storytelling. I love what you're doing here.
Thank you.
No, seriously. And that has always been a passion of mine, is just telling a good story, living a good story, watching a good story unfold on screen. So I'm always consuming media because it creates empathy, it shows you more about the world around you, but also it's so damn entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I just love seeing the world from other perspectives. I guess that's
Amen.
why I like to travel. That's why I like to watch movies, listen to all genre of music. It all kind of blends together for me. It's like the perfect melange. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, kind of the last big thing,
Yeah.
thanks to all your travels and, your just massive brain and getting, involved in pretty much everything. Now,
I
come on, it's
I
true.
try to get involved because it's all out of boredom, like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's knowledge is power, right? We talked about.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you should always strive for more knowledge. Every
Always.
person on the planet should. Uh, what's your kind of like piece of advice for people out there or someone like looking to be in a similar path as you or
Yeah.
just life in general?
I mean, generally, don't take things too seriously and don't take things for granted. You live best when you're actually living, when you're not taking life seriously, when you allow yourself to experience things, but at the same time, don't let that experience of things make you so hedonistic that you don't realize what's also in front of you. It's a really tough dichotomy to balance, but if you don't allow yourself to live, then you will never allow yourself to learn. And I think for a while I was really pent up, especially like as a kid, especially in high school, of being so straight up, being such a hard ass about everything that I didn't realize I could be smarter by just letting go and really experiencing the world around me. I hope people take that away.
That's
That's my
beautiful.
message.
That's awesome. Well, Gav, thank you, brother. That's all I got.
Thanks, Josh.